Someone gave, someone donated, someone left a legacy. Generations of generous someones have helped shape Rhode Island into this amazing place we call home. How do you thank them? By leaving your own legacy. We can help.
Welcome to another segment of In Another Opinion, a public information program where our discussions are focused on the communities of color in the state of Rhode Island. I'm your host, Peter Wells. My guests today are James Buckley, manager at Hemingway's, one of my favorite restaurants, and Jana Garcia, phlebotomist extraordinaire at Women's and Infants. Both guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Today, we're going to be talking about something that's very, very important and very dear to me, and that is organ donation. As you both know, and as maybe my viewers will find out today, is that I'm the recipient of a kidney donation in April of this past year. And I tell you, it's a wonderful feeling. But you two are the heroes because you two both donated kidneys to someone else. And that is just a wonderful thing, very wonderful thing. More people should do it, especially in the communities of color. But let me ask you guys a question. What motivated you to be an organ donor? Let's start with Jana.
Well, she's my best friend.
So you knew your
her.
recipient.
Yeah, and she's my son's aunt. And I just couldn't picture life without her, you know what I mean? And she has kids. Mm-hmm. So I always try to put myself in a position, always as a parent, like how would I deal with it if I was in her shoes and I felt like I needed a kidney? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I would want someone to give it to me and think of my child, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually offered and she kind of hesitated. She ignored me.
Why did she hesitate, you know?
Because I have a child with her brother.
Right.
And she didn't want it to be like uncomfortable or weird, you know what I mean? I'm assuming because, you know, me and him are no longer together and then we have a child in the mix. So it's kind of like an awkward position for her as a sister and also as my best friend, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I was like, no, you're doing it. And she was like, I don't know, I got to think about it. And I was like, all right, whatever, you're still doing it. And she did it. She had a choice.
That's very good. Well, she couldn't have done it without you. And that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah.
And to hopefully, you know, dispel some of the myths that people have about organ donation. What about you, James? What motivated you?
I first kind of was inspired in a way by a YouTube video, really.
Very good.
I had the day off and I was just scrolling and kind of in a YouTube dark hole. And I came across a video about a gentleman that had donated his kidney to a stranger and the lives that it touched. And, you know, at the end of the video, I said, I can do that.
So you didn't know your recipient?
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was a non-directed donation, whoever needed it most, but I had a spare.
So how did that work? Did you contact the Rhode Island Hospital Transplant Clinic and just say, I want to be a donor?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I contacted Sarah and I just asked to set up a meeting where I could learn more about the process and if I was even eligible to help. And yeah.
Well, let's talk about that a minute. Tell me about eligibility. What made you eligible besides the blood type match, which we know that's normal? But anything else?
So they were big on, are you physically able to? I'm sure you.
Yeah,
went through all the
physically,
same-
mentally. They want to make sure that you're mentally capable or that you can actually do it. You know what I mean? Because some people say they want to do it, but where are you at mentally? They want to make sure you're healthy. I know you have to do like several blood tests, urine tests. What's that thing where they put you in the
scan?
yeah,
CT scan?
the CT scan at one point.
Okay. They want to look at the kidneys first? Is that
Yeah,
it?
like just to make sure which one they're
You have to
taking.
make sure you have to.
It's like
even.
basic
This
stuff.
is
It's
also
not
true.
hard.
Because there are people who actually are born with one kidney.
Yeah, and they don't even know.
So that does occur. Now, I know that one of the things that they're concerned about when you talk about when we talk about donors is they want to make sure that the donor will take care of themselves later,
Yes.
because that's really important. I mean, if you gave a kidney or gave any other organ and you didn't take care of yourself, that could be detrimental to the donor. So when looking at the two of you, you guys are good specimens. You look like you're in shape, and so therefore
Yeah,
they
we're still
probably had
going.
less concerned about the two of you.
It's, in a way, it's almost a compliment because only the healthiest people get to donate a kidney.
I know, it really is
So
true.
it's like a
Yeah.
stamp of health.
That's that
Yeah.
right. That's good to know.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's
Actually,
true.
There's I read that living donors actually live longer than the average person. It's a little bit skewed because only the healthiest people get to donate.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's still a pride piece.
So,
Get to live a little
it
longer.
might have been rigged, huh?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Deck was stacked a bit, but
Well, listen, I'll tell you something. I mean, as I called you guys heroes, and you are, because there's the 3.5 years or so that I was on dialysis. You know, every day when you go to dialysis, you say, "Geez, I hope this is my last time." You know, but you go with an expectation that hopefully one day you do get a match, and then that you stay healthy enough to also receive a kidney, because then, you know, they can't be wasted. If someone isn't in good health, they would wait for that person and obviously give the kidney to somebody else. If you were advocating, or I know, Jana, you like to do that, and you've tried to pull together some programs for kidney donations in the community. So I know where your head is. What, you know, how do you see advocating and getting other people to want to do this? What do you say to other folks?
I think it's important. So I always tell them my story on why I did it and how it's easy. And I explain to them that you don't need 2 kidneys. You can have one and you'll be perfectly fine. I think a lot of people don't know that they can donate a kidney. So it's kind of one of those things, like if they were more informed about it or they knew more about it, I think more people would be willing to help other people. Like I've been to to dialysis before with Monique, so I know, you know, when you see people sitting there and how long it takes, you know, it touches your heart, because who wants to be there so long? You know what I mean? And sometimes it makes you tired. So it takes up a lot of a person's time
Well, it
too
does.
also. So it's like I explain to them that, and when they hear it, they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, you can go get tested. It's free. You don't have to do anything. And the good thing about it is too, they go according to your schedule. So they'll always try to finagle it to work for you instead of working against you. So you don't feel like you're going crazy trying to figure out how you're going to help somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is nice.
What about you, Jim?
I
You t-
completely agree.
You talk to other folks about it? I mean, have you, when people ask you, geez, you did that, you know, do you tell them, you know, you could do it too? Or, you know, how do you advocate?
I wear a Donate Life pin
I
with
noticed
pride.
your pin. Yeah, that's definitely an advocate position.
I work actually with New England Donor Services and Donate Life New England, and I
Okay.
do. I'm an ambassador to the DMV, so I work, which is not directly living donor, but afterlife donation, if you will.
Period. Yeah.
Donation in general.
Yeah.
So I work with DMVs and thank them for all the work that they do, because 99% of people that sign up to be organ donors do so at the DMV. So just to make sure there's a Donate Life presence and that they really feel appreciated for being on the front lines of it. But in terms of, I'm happy to share my story, and I think that my journey started with a YouTube video. It wasn't really on my radar, kind of like you mentioned. I knew kidney transplants existed. I knew, I knew the word dialysis, but I didn't really know I was in a position to help anyone until that video. So if I can be that catalyst for someone else's donation, then.
Well, no, a lot of people think that you can only a family member can donate to another member of the family, which is obviously not true. My donor was not a member of my family, and it was someone I didn't know. So it does, it works. It does work. You know, in Rhode Island, there's been a lot of kidneys that have been made available, unfortunately, through things such as opioid overdoses, and therefore there are kidneys that have been available, even more so in Massachusetts, because I think they have a higher rate of opioid overdoses, which you don't really want that to happen to be a recipient, but that also happens. But the point is that when you are healthy young people, you've got 2 kidneys, they're both working fine, and you can give one up to somebody else. It's unspeakable. It's just tremendous work. Now, you mentioned DMV. Now, I'm a recipient, a donor recipient. I have it on my driver's license. I don't know what organs I could donate now. I don't know if my kidney could be recycled at some point in time, but maybe it could. I don't know. But hopefully that I would be able to help somebody. One of the other things that I think a lot of people are concerned about in giving away an organ of any kind is pain and the recovery period. So how'd you deal with that? Was there a lot of pain?
For Monique?
No, for you, the donor.
Oh, I'm like,
the
because
donee.
she was living her best life in the hospital. She was doing so good. I think I was just so happy to see her that even though I was in pain, but again, it was my first surgery. I never been into surgery. So here I am getting put to sleep to have my first big surgery. So to me, it was big. I think everyone has different pain levels. So, I mean, it was painful for me a little bit.
But wait a minute, you gave birth.
I know, but it's different. It's so different.
Which was more painful?
The birth.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
I think it was just more uncomfortable for me because
Sure.
the medicine that they gave me, TMI, it made me constipated. And then I guess when they put you to sleep, the gas, I think it is, it inflates your stomach. And at
Yes.
one point, it just was not leaving my system. And it's painful because you kind of like hear the gas, like just like, so
Yes.
for me, it was painful a little bit. But like, even though I was in pain, she would cry sometimes with me. And then she would be like, I feel bad. And I'm like, it's all right. It's a part of the process. I'll do it all over again. And she would just look at me like I'm crazy.
So it wasn't too painful.
No, I mean, I dealt with it. If I had to do it again and deal with the pain, I would.
Hey, how long was your recovery period, would you say?
I was out of work for a few. I mean, I think they take you off for like 12 or 13 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, or a little longer. It depends.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, on the person
Sure.
and what you have going on. But it wasn't bad.
How about you, James? Did you experience a great deal of pain? And
It certainly wasn't comfortable.
okay,
How it was my first surgery as well.
Yeah.
And I hadn't donated a kidney before, so it
Sure.
was a new
Didn't know what to
adventure.
expect.
Exactly. But you know, I always tried to remember that no matter the pain I'm feeling right now, someone else is feeling great,
Yeah,
and it doesn't compare to the 4 years that the recipient was on dialysis
Yeah.
and not feeling great. So I try to keep that mindset. I was out of work for 11 weeks. And they said, 6 to 12 range can be expected, but plan on 12. So I
Yeah.
took that information and said, I'll be back to work in 4 weeks.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
very competitive. It certainly wasn't the case. But with my job, I'm on my feet all day. And
That makes it tough.
I'm moving around. So, if maybe I had a less taxing physically job, I could have gone back sooner, but
Yeah, the walking was like,
walking was.
I felt like a little old.
I had just done the Newport, the Pell Bridge 4-mile run. So you
Oh,
run over
really?
the Newport Bridge. This was maybe 4 days before the surgery,
Wow.
and I had a great run. And then after the surgery, the first night, I said, I ran over the Newport Bridge, and now I can't lift my legs into bed.
Yeah,
Like, what is
it's the
happening?
worst.
But it was a cool, to see the process of recovery. And I couldn't lift my legs into bed the first night, and then the next day I got to the chair, and then the following day I could walk around the hospital floor once, just once.
How long were you in the hospital?
Surgery was on Monday. I was discharged on Thursday.
So 3 days, 4 days.
Mhm.
Same for you?
I was there for a week because I felt like a little dizzy or whatever, but I mean, it was fine.
I
was
loved it
that-
there at the
yeah.
hospital. It was luxury all the way.
I was there only for 5 days myself
Yeah.
in
I think it
receiving the
was
kidney.
Yeah, it was 5 days, just about a week.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't bad.
The biggest problem I had, I was saying to James earlier in the green room, that they wouldn't let me eat anything for 3 days.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have been mad.
I was upset,
I
trust
was,
me.
listen.
You know, because all I was getting was water, ginger ale, and some ice chips. I mean, you know, I wasn't getting anything, nothing solid, because I guess they needed the kidney to settle first
Yeah,
before
they
it
do.
started processing foods.
Yeah.
And then when I did get foods, everything was soft. I felt like I was, you know, an infant again with. You know. But it was worth it. It was worth it. Trust me.
Yeah, it is worth it.
So the recovery period runs anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks, as they suggested, not as much pain as one might think, but definitely some pain. They give you medication for that.
Yeah, I think if you work out and do, like I did a competition before I did the show, so I felt like that physically helped me so much because I was training and I was eating a certain way for like 11 weeks, I think it was. So by the time I did my surgery, I felt like even better. You know what I mean? Like I did a competition on Saturday and Monday I went into surgery. So it was like, oh yeah, great. I just did all this work and then here I am. So that helped a lot.
For our viewers, what kind of competition did you do?
It was a bikini fitness competition.
Okay.
So it was nice. It was a good experience, to be honest. I met a lot of good people.
So you're basically a bodybuilder.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a good experience. I loved it.
See that, but that gives an idea to viewers listening to this program as to the health that you both were in.
Yeah.
You into the gym and you're a runner, so you know you guys were perfect candidates.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
I'm sure that there are people who have donated kidneys that may not have been as such good health,
Yeah.
especially if they were a family member donating to another family member. In my case, again, I had a cadaver kidney that was donated. The person had passed away, and I received that kidney, so it wasn't a living kidney. Now, they do say at the transplant clinic that living kidneys will last a little bit longer than a cadaver kidney. But I think it really depends on how you take care of yourself and
Yeah.
take care of that kidney,
It's true.
you know?
I believe that.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good patient. I do what the doctors tell me to do. You know, I haven't got my medical degree yet, so I don't run off and do my things on my own. So tell me, guys, you know, again, this is a subject that's really difficult in some communities. You know, there are people who, for religious reasons, would not ever donate an organ. There are religions that, you know, restrict the use of receiving blood from another person. It's against their belief systems. And so there are different reasons why some people would not donate an organ, especially maybe a kidney, because of the blood factor. But, you know, if we don't have donors like yourselves, I mean, there are tons of people, youngsters, babies, who are born with kidney disease that need a kidney. And, you know, we could save these people and they can have a normal, healthy life if we had someone like yourselves making that ultimate sacrifice. So tell me what your family thought, James, when you told them you were going to do this.
Absolutely no. They, you know, I was all inspired and excited,
Yep.
and then I went to brag to my parents about, you know, what I want to do, and they said, shh, no, you know,
Yeah.
and they were planning my sister's wedding at the time, and so she said, my mother, lovely woman, but She's like, I only have time for one child right now. This is not you. Wait, we'll talk later. And so it was not what I expected to hear,
Okay.
but when I went to the transplant team, they asked me, are your parents aware and are they on board? And I very nervously said, no. Well, they are aware, but they're not the most on board. And they
Yeah.
said, good, you have good parents. Because a parent's job is to protect their child and keep them out of harm's way. And for you to walk in and be like, please take my vital organ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's cause for concern, maybe. But they came around to it, and they were my biggest supporters. I could not have done this without them. So
Very good. How about yours, Gina?
I mean, my dad, he's very old school. So he's like, Mija, what? I'm like, I'm going to donate my kidney. He's like, what are you talking about? Why? And then I'm trying to explain it to him, and he was just like, you're just crazy. He's like, you have a son. What are you going to do? I'm like, Dad, you can live with one kidney. It's not that serious. My mom was just like, she knows her, so she loves her. So she's like, that's really good of you. But then she's like, but are you going to be okay? Like, are you going to be okay? Because,
Sure.
you know, if you're not going to be okay, then I think we should talk about this. But she never hesitated or said no. I think my dad was more like uncomfortable about it. But I mean, it's my decision. So I was doing it regardless.
Well, dad's always a little bit more protective over daughters anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if my daughter came to me and said she wanted to donate a kidney, and she, unfortunately she wasn't my blood type, so she couldn't do it for me. But I think I would, say, listen, well, let's really think through this and what's your plan afterwards? Because that, to me, is the important thing. What are you going to do afterwards? Especially if there's any kind of a complication.
I think that was like, I think that's every parent's like concern.
Sure.
Like what happens to you? Because, there's always that, nothing's ever really guaranteed. But I was like, my kidney, like nothing's gonna happen. Like, it's just a kidney.
When I was speaking to, what I always kind of held close was the sentiment that the transplant coordinator said, we've never lost a donor here at Rhode Island Hospital.
Yeah,
We do
that's
not plan to
too.
start with you. I said, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, actually, they have Rhode Island Hospital has a really good track record in
Yeah, they
terms of
do.
organ transplantation.
Yes.
I get the data periodically. I was getting it prior to the transplant, and I think their success rate was in the 98th percentile. So, that's a good thing. I know a lot of Rhode Islanders like to run to Boston every time they want something medically
Right.
done, but I can say with no hesitation that a Rhode Island Hospital is a good spot
Yeah,
for
they have
that.
a good team. Like, they're very supportive.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we run out of time, because half hour goes pretty fast, but in your opinion, I'm going to give both of you an opportunity to respond to this, but in your opinion, what information would you offer to the viewers watching this show regarding organ donation? What would you say?
From the video that I saw, that was my catalyst. What stuck with me was that 12 people die every day waiting for a kidney that never comes. And that's horrible. That is something unfortunately it wasn't on my radar, and I was in a position to do something about it. So for one day I can make that number 11, and so it's.
Very good. In fact, I know that you had a chance later to meet your recipient, because I was there when that happened,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
that was quite moving.
I didn't. So when you don't, they keep you separated.
Sure.
Leading up to it, and so you even day of surgery you enter different entrances to the hospital so that you never encounter each other. And then if both parties agree, you meet afterwards. So I met her and she fell to her knees and wept and hugged me and just said,
Yeah.
"Thank you. You gave me my life." And it was just.
Yeah.
It was everything, but
Yeah, that was very moving the day that she gave you the flowers
just thought-
at the
Oh,
at the
yeah,
hospital.
it
Yeah,
was.
that
I'm
was
like,
great.
Yeah, I remember that.
and she looked great.
She does. Isn't it amazing? I love it.
What about you, Jana? What would you say to
For
folks?
me, I would tell people to do their research. And ask questions also. Like, yes, do your research online, but you know, you can also call Rhode Island Hospital. They have a good team. I even offer people, I give them the information and I explain to them how it works. But definitely do your research and always ask questions. You know what I mean? And always try to like put yourself in that person's position. What would you do? How would you feel? And what outcome would you want? Because you always want to think about like how you would want someone to treat you and how you can help someone else. You know what I mean? Because if you can help someone else, you would be like, you know, if I can help someone, someone is going to think to help me too if I ever need it. So, I mean, it's pretty dope.
And it's great kind of insurance in a way, because if you're a living donor and then you end up needing a kidney, that's what everyone's concerned about. What if you need one later in life? You're so young.
Yeah.
You scoot to the top of
I was
the,
gonna say, yes.
the
You
waiting
do.
list, which I would feel so guilty about. But if you donate your kidney and you need one, you
You're
get
like
bumped to the top.
VIP.
Yes, yeah, that is true, and that's a good point to make. I'm glad you brought it up. That the list is long,
It
but
is.
if you are a donor, you do get to move to the top of the list should you ever need one.
We're
Yeah.
never going to need one.
Never.
Well, no, I think that the two
Like,
of
we're
you
never
are
gonna need one.
classic examples of physical fitness, so you probably won't ever have to worry about it. You, because you're running around, you know, taking care of people like me at the restaurant, and you because you're chasing your son.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Well, listen, I appreciate you guys coming on the show and talking about something that is somewhat personal, but that the fact that you are, again, I like to call you guys heroes, and because you are, you're lifesavers. You gave somebody life and an extension of their life, and that's really, really important. I know every time, as I said, I was going to dialysis 3 days a week for 4 hours, you know, each time. So I always thought about what I would do with that 12 hours that I recaptured if I ever got a kidney. And it's amazing how fast you fill up 12 hours. But the fortunate thing is that I had the opportunity to do it because of people like you. And, you know, I can't say enough as a recipient of a kidney. I can't say enough of how important and how grateful I am for the two of you, for other people. And I'll speak for them. But listen, we've run out of time, and we'll have more shows about organ donation in the future. Maybe we'll get you back. But I want to thank today's guests, James Buckley and Jana Garcia, both heroes for their kidney donations, and you, the viewers, for tuning into another segment of In Another Opinion. A special thanks to PBS for making this program possible. I'm your host, Peter Wells. Give us your opinion on Facebook or Twitter at In Another Opinion, and have a great day.
Someone gave, someone donated, someone left a legacy. Generations of generous someones have helped shape Rhode Island into this amazing place we call home. How do you thank them? By leaving your own legacy. We can help.